Was Einstein a fraud? Okay, I'm being a bit harsh there, but was he right about creativity? Let's find out. My team lost 7-0 last night. I need a coffee before starting today. Morning!
Morning!
Can I have a flat white, please?
Of course you can.
Thank you. So, thanks a lot anyway. See you later.
Bye.
Cheers, thank you. See you later. Last episode, I had an Albert Einstein theory to test. Instead of using a spoon, I used a screwdriver. So we're always in the office. I thought I'd bring you down to my living room. Right, last few weeks have been a bit mental. Granted, probably like that for everyone, lead up to Christmas and all that jazz. However, it's also coincided with a little bit of a creative block, shall we say, for me. So I figured I want to do something about it. Now, here's time for a little bit of context to this story. So, just like you, I'm sure watching this, you've got a crazy busy life. You know, I've got a wife, 2 kids, 2 cats, friends, blah, 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 and a full-time day job, which can be a tad stressful. However, this type of stuff is my dream. I'm giving it a go. Now, I'm going off on another story. How do you find time to do this stuff? But anyway, that's not the story for today. And what I've noticed lately is these like ideas that I get are usually through like quite quiet moments, and I basically found a trend that I felt like I've had really good ideas when Clemmy, my girl's 3 now, was like a baby, and now when Daisy is, because it's meant I've had large periods of time be walking around at 2 o'clock in the morning, rocking her. You can't have your phone out, you can't do anything, you've got to be bang on military with it. So it basically gives you all this time in your own head. And I noticed that I've had all these really good ideas, and sometimes I forgot them, sometimes I didn't, blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, it made me click that if I'm struggling, this could be a one way to go with it. Now, particularly in the last 2 weeks, it's ramped up a little bit and it's been a bit mental. And I had this grand plan of these 10 first episodes of this 1 to 100k challenge for myself. And I hit a bit of a, not stumbling block, but I just started to run out of ideas. And yeah, if you like, I'd probably liken it to a little bit of a writer's block, shall we say. So I needed to do something different. The Einstein theory. Why am I not writing Einstein? Well, it's because I can't think how to spell it, to be honest. Oh, okay, first off, this was my current list. I can't delete this tree either because my wife will kill me, so I'm going to work around it. So number 1, I quite like this idea. It was music versus art. Number 2 was music and art. I'm going to explain more. And number 3 was art and social media. In short, what I mean is I had an idea about doing a vlog, producing some photography while listening to 2 opposite types of music, see what influence I had. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about how music influences us unconsciously. And the other one was about the obsession with social media and how as artists maybe we shouldn't have that. Hello. So I let Clemmy wear my glasses yesterday for a bit of fun. One. So, side note, by the way, I also had some really good ideas from this experiment about more grand ideas that I talked about in my last episode, which it was sort of fell out of scope, if you like, with this episode, because the experiment was meant to be about basically ideas for the next few episodes, not grand ideas for our community that doesn't exist at the moment. So, back to scope. So the first idea I had was a bit of a change on the whole take on do we just do a boring why you shouldn't post to social media, and it was more about why you should concentrate on your work or art. Now, if anyone can read that, I'll be amazed. But anyway, this idea that elaborated, actually, rather than just say something really boring that everybody does, like why you shouldn't post to social media or why you should, mine was more about a piece of work I've been doing for a while, and it was I've been focusing on me and my art, so my street photography, and I mentioned it again in a few episodes gone by about bodies of work I'm doing, and sporadically, I think I've posted 2 or 3 of those pictures, but it's been going on for 18 months. I'm planning on doing it for a while, and it's just this really long-term, fulfilling body of work I'm doing. Elaborating on that, telling a story about it, and maybe inspiring others to maybe look at their own work a bit differently. And number 2 was even better idea. Number 2 was Granddad. This one was, again, more for inspiration and a bit of history, I guess. So this one was an idea about, I found out a few months ago, randomly, didn't know this before, never met this person, that from like my side of a family that I never really saw, spent time with as a child, my great-great-granddad Charlie was the head of the Halifax Photography Society, and then like a granddad before him and a granddad before that were all into photography, and I never knew these people. I didn't realise until recently, and I thought that was just super interesting in itself, the fact that I'm massive into photography, my cousin's a professional cameraman for TV, blah blah blah. It's really interesting that that line of creative outlet came to us without us even knowing it. So I wanted to explore that. I wanted to maybe go to the archives and relics, maybe find, it'd be amazing if I could find any work from him. That, I'm well up for that in the new year. I've got to do a lot of prep work for that, so that'll be further down the line, but cracking idea. And the third one was you. So this, again, if you're watching this now and actually people are watching it, is I want to tell short stories about other people. That'd be amazing, like how and why you fell in love with art, why, maybe what it does for your mental health, maybe just positive stories, and I figured send them in. Yeah, contact me, and I'd love to do future episodes about that, where if you're close enough I can come out and meet, if not I can do over Zoom, blah blah blah, and we'll create an awesome little story to inspire others, maybe educate others on how you learn. So that is my third idea. Okay, last point. Hi BB. I don't know if I've introduced you to BB. Bruce is upstairs, and this is twin sister BB. Last point before I let you go. When I finished that experiment, I went to bed, obviously, and I had another idea. Just as I was falling asleep, and I woke up and I wrote it down in my phone. See ya. And basically that idea was something that I feel like hits a few different potential like criterias, which is, you mentioned before, I always try to mention like my dyslexia or maybe depression, etc., in a positive light, in a way that just shares the stories or whatever. Anyway, I had this idea that I could actually go out and share stories, again, if I could find people out in the community that have maybe disabilities, physical disabilities, or maybe mental differences, I don't know the right word for it, or learning differences, those types of people that maybe could come and tell us their stories and inspire us about maybe how a particular art form, you know, gave them a positive outlet in their life, or changed their life, and all this type of stuff. I think that'd be really, really interesting, and tell you a little bit of story about my dyslexia, how it came about, just to hopefully inspire others to come to me and tell me their stories. So that's the other big grand idea that I want to put out there as well. Right, I need some lunch now, but they're all my ideas. I'd be really interested to know if you think it worked. Do you think there are better ideas? Do you think they're worse? Do you think I'm just full of absolute Toodles!